Hello there everyone. I'm just setting up before we start, okay? So I've just started a minute early so that I can set it up on my computer so that I can see your comments. I'll be back with you very shortly. Just hum a little tune to yourself while I just get all set up. Because there's always a slight time delay, and so I just need to keep refreshing until it shows up on Facebook. And wouldn't you know it, it's not showing. I can't see it. Boom, 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 boom. Come on. Be kind to Carol. Where are you? No. It's not there. Oh, here I am. I'm live now. Okay. So if I do that, ooh, turn me off. Do that, and then I should be able to now see your comments at the side. So Jane's here, Maureen's here, Lynn's here, Gail's just joined. Okay. Hi Lynn. Hello. Right, I've got my brew at the ready, so I'm set up. It's really funny, you know, doing this live thing because what I'm recording now isn't showing up on my computer. There's a slight time delay. Now then, I don't know how to pronounce your name. I think it's Arumagam. I hope I've said that correctly. You've just joined us. Arumagam. Oh, Lynn's just making a brew. Hurry up, lass. We'll just give it a minute or two whilst everyone gets to join in. Ooh, you can't beat a good brew. Michelle's here. Hi, Michelle. Maureen's got her brew. Okay, now you will need pen and paper if you want to make notes. So you might want to scurry off and go and get those if you haven't already got them. I'm just going to do a little bit of, so that you know that I'm still here. I've got to behave actually because I spoke to my mum earlier. Well, it is Mother's Day, you know, and she's down at my brother's, and I've said to them that they've got to come on and have a look. So I need to behave. Yeah, that's not going to happen. Okay. What time are we on? 15:03. Okay, I'm going to make a start. First of all, I want to do a bit of a disclaimer and apology before we go any further. And that is because it's the first live that I've ever done. There might be some profanities. You never know. I might have the odd one or two swear words popped in there. So if I accidentally come out with a little swear word, please excuse me, won't you? I am only human after all. Okay, so I wanted to talk to you about the glue book. What it is. Who's laughing at me? Someone's laughing at me now. What is a glue book? and what's the difference between this and a variety of other different named versions of this. A glue book is basically what it says. It's a book that you glue in. I mean, you can't get any simpler than that. Now, the difference between this and the collage book, I suppose, is a collage you tend to cover more of the whole page, whereas with a glue book you add a few pictures that you really like and you put them in a kind of a storyboard kind of way. We used to call these scrapbooks when I was kids. So, and the thing is as well, is there's so many different names for these things, and it's different from country to country as well as to which one you use. To be honest, I don't care which one you use. Oh yeah, I can speak French, Lynn, very easily. Parlez-vous français, madame? So, I don't care what you call it. Use whatever terminology you want. I'm going to call it a glue book because I'm using a book and I'm gluing things into it, okay? So that's the terminology that I'm going to use throughout the challenge, is glue book. If you want to call it by another name, then that is absolutely fine. One of the things that I wanted to talk about first of all is what you can actually use as your glue book, all right? Now, this particular one that I'm using, I bought several from Hobbycraft Maureen, because Maureen asked where I got it from, and yes, Michelle was right, it is where I got them from. And the reason why I think she was asking was I think she likes this this craft colour type paper. Now, whether they sell them anymore or not, I'm not entirely sure, so just have a scoot round and just see what you can find. Now, I've made the book. Sorry, I purchased the book. There is no reason why you can't make your own book if you so wish, and therefore then you can add your own craft paper to it if that's what you want to do. I'm just going to put this to one side for a minute because I just want to show you some different options of things that you can use. So one, first of all, is to use a book. The second one is make your own book. The third option is I've got an old K & Company smash book, and the reason why I've suggested these is they've already got these background papers already in them that you can then utilise, and you're not starting off like I am here with this one with a totally blank page. So just sit the two together. So as you can see here, look, I've got a totally blank page on there, which can be very daunting for some people. Whereas if you use the likes of a smash book, then you've already got decorative parts on it that sort of give you a basis to start, I suppose. So there also a good idea is to use a smash book. So that's number 2. Number 3, and in fact, let me just move that out of the way because otherwise I'm going to cover my decks up with a ton of stuff and not have any way to show you anything. Now, this was a book that I got from Aldi. When I went shopping to Aldi, they'd got these Christmas amazing food and drink. And when I had to look through, I actually thought to myself, ooh, that's actually really nice quality paper. And I could use this as a glue book. I can cover over those images that are already on there, or I could utilise part of them as a bit of a basis for a background. So say on this one here, I could use, if you can imagine that part there as a window, as a bit of greenery, and I could leave that bit and then cover everything else. But there's no reason why you can't use books like this. There's no reason why you can't use textbooks. So if you've got a book that you've finished reading and you don't want anymore, use that. The other thing that you can use is a colouring book. These are available very, very cheaply from the pound shop, from the works, and some of the pictures are lovely for colouring in, some of them are hideous. For me, that to me is like, ooh, wouldn't use that in a month of Sundays, but it's a book already made up. It's given me some decorations on the back that I can cover over completely, or I can part cover over and then just have little parts of it showing through. All right, so colouring books is another option. Got lots of options for you. Another sort of book is, you know, when you buy magazines and they have the freebie papers in, very occasionally they'll do them as a booklet. And again, this is another type of book that you can use as your basis for creating your glue book, because it's already got the background images and you're not starting off with a totally blank page. But it's a good way of using them up if they're sat in your box, like mine, for months, if not years on end. Okay, so that's another option. If you don't fancy doing a book and you're not quite sure if this is going to be for you, if this is not going to be your cup of tea, there's no reason why you can't go and decorate index cards up, or even, I've got a back somewhere, or even a deck. How do I get in? There. Or even a deck of playing cards. So you could just have a go on normal size playing cards, oversized playing cards, and just decorate those up with these images, or the index cards with the images, and then just have a go with those and see if you like doing it. It might not be your cup of tea, and so you might not want to do the book. Now, the nice thing about doing the index cards is that if you like it that much, there's no reason then why you couldn't use that then in a journal. If it's one that maybe you like but you're not quite so keen on and don't want it in your journal, you could then get yourself a book and then glue the index card into the book. All right, so then you're not ruining your book. So if it goes slightly wrong on the page in the book and you think, oh, I've made a right mess of that, got to tear that out, at least if you decorate up the index card, you can then stick that in. Now, it doesn't have to be an index card. It could just be a sheet of card that you decorate up and then glue it into your book. All right, so don't feel as though you've got to just solely work on the book. All right, so that's a couple of options for you there as to what you can decorate. Slurp of tea time, bear with. Hi Tracy, glad you found us. Hi Hilda. What did you throw out, Lynn? One of the Aldi books, maybe. Okay, next thing on the list. So that was list number 1, is what you can utilise as your glue book, in inverted commas. The next part then is, where do you get all your decoration bits from? All right, and most of you, and I know you have, and you have, and you, and you, and you have, you've already got a ton of stuff already collated, cut out, saved, printed, all the rest of it. Now then, yes to the Aldi book. I know, can I tell you, when I went to Aldi originally, I picked up 10 of those books because I thought, oh, they'll come in handy for something. I went and threw them all out, didn't I? Only saved one. Well, serves me right. Okay, so where do you get this stuff from? Okay, so I'm going to show you, oh God, this really big magazine first. I saw it in the W.H. Smith's book shop maybe about 2 years ago now. In fact, hang on, what date is it? Autumn, winter 2016. Oh, God. It's like 2.5 years ago. And I just loved this top part here. And I started looking through it. And at the time, I was looking at, you know how we see those cut-out dolls and then they cut out butterflies and they put the butterfly wings behind the cut-out dolls? So that's why I got this, because I thought there's bound to be images in here that I could actually cut out and do that with. Now, I've just saved a couple of pages to show you. So have a look at adverts. I mean, how kooky is she? But I thought if she was cut out, you know, that could be a good image. The same as there's like a smaller version of her here. So I could cut her out and then decorate her up with some of the other bits and pieces that I've got. Let's get this next page. This one, I could definitely cut her out. I could even just cut out the handbags if I wanted to and utilise those. There's a beer one out just now in Aldi. When I next got to Aldi, I'll have a look. The other reason why I've pointed this picture out is sometimes it's not just to look at what's at the front of the main picture, but to look at what's in the background. So if you have a look in the background here, there's all these old vintage books, but I thought, wouldn't those be lovely all cut out and utilised as well? So don't just look at the main image, which is what the advertisement wants you to look at. Look at what's behind the actual main image as well. Just reading all your comments. I would just cut the books out. Hang on, I've lost one. There we go. This is another one where I could cut her out, utilise her, put some butterfly wings on the back. This one I thought was lovely for this sunrise, sunset. All right, I'm not the singer of the family, but I thought that would be really lovely. And of course, the other things to look at as well when you're looking through magazines like this is to have a look at words and see what words you could cut out and use as well. Now, I loved this image. This just appeals to me. It's just really serene, pretty, appealing, the colours. So even if I just used this part here, it's quite dark, but the blend of tones of those colours just really appeals to me. And then on this one, I just love that tree that she's holding on to. Don't like her dress, I have to say, but yeah, I like the sunrise too, Hilda. But it just shows the sorts of things that you could pick up. Now, this one I chose for a slightly different reason. Here, you've got a close-up of the actual coat that she's wearing over here. But again, if you just chopped that bit out and use that as part of a background, because they've done a close-up, you can actually see the texture of the fabric, and so it gives an inference that there's some texture on the page as well as the colour. So again, as I say, you could cut out the whole thing and then put other pictures on top of here. Got one more in this magazine to show you. And this one, I loved her. So I thought that she could be cut out beautifully and stick her on the top of a complete collage. So again, we could add the butterfly wings behind her to give her the impression of being a fairy. But I really liked that image. So have a look through your magazines before you throw them out and just see if there's any pictures that you can cut out. What's Tracy put? There are a lot of people chatting in group that can't get into the live. They say they don't have permission to view. If someone could post up on group for me, because obviously I can't, I don't know the answer to that. They might need to just keep refreshing their page until it comes up. But why they're not getting permission to watch, I'm sorry, I don't know, because it's the first time I've done it. So I don't know all the ins and outs of that yet. Sorry. But if someone would kindly post on group for me, that I'm not sure why. But the other thing to say as well is that the live will be saved afterwards, and so they can watch it later on. Thank you. God, that book's heavy. Now, another thing that I went and did was that, it's a rather loud ambulance going by, was I went to my local tourist information board. I'm lucky because I live in a city where tourist is a big thing for us. I was able to get hold of lots and lots of different tourist information magazines. And I'll show you why I collected this one. For me, again, I've got this part of the image here that I could cut out and use, but more so for me was the wording, so I could cut out the wording on this one. So if I do a page that is relating to where you live, so let's say I do the title Where You Live, I'm sorted. Okay, now this was the other reason why I kept this magazine. There is an article in this particular one about this particular artist, Scott Massey, and that really does appeal to me. And this is where glue books come into their own. How many of you go through a magazine and go, you look at the pictures. I mean, not everyone reads all that text. But you go through, you look at the pictures and you go, oh, I love that, and I love that, and I love that. And then the rest of the magazine you don't like. It doesn't appeal to you for whatever reason. And so you hold on to that magazine for purely a couple of pictures. Well, in this case now, because we're doing a glue book, you can cut out those bits that you do like and you can get rid of the rest of the magazine. Takes up less space that way. So for me, I'm holding on to this for that image, that one, and this one. This is another image that really does appeal to me. So I'm holding on to this whole magazine for those few images. So I could cut those out, put them in my glue book, and then I can get rid of the rest of this bulk. So it's taking up less space in my bookcase, right? So that's something else to consider, is to go through, look at these things, and then at least you can send that off to recycling and you've taken out what you actually want to keep from it. Thank you, Tracy. Tell them to refresh their page. Okay, I will. Ooh, nice pics. I know they're lovely, aren't they, Maureen? Thank you for doing that, Tracy. That's very kind of you. Thank you. Okay, another slurp of tea. Are you keeping up notes-wise? Does it all make sense to you so far? Yes, no, maybe. I'll have another slurp of tea. We'll wait for Tracy to come back. Now then, next, Franken Pages. As most of you know who saw the original video on YouTube, I did a Franken page on the front of my book. And I showed you where I made the mistakes on mine because, hello, just worked out how to add comments. Yay, well done, Michelle. So I showed you where I'd made the couple of mistakes in that, you know, I was over eager and I went and put papers on the front and on the back. And I wish now that I'd done them just purely on the front because of the machine stitching point of view. Now, a few other ladies made suggestions of what I could do, and thank you, but I have already got those ideas in my mind. So I could do some faux stitching by just drawing it on. I could stamp on top of it. Yeah, I'm already aware of all the different things that I can do with it. My point was to say, if you want to do machine stitching, you need to think about, if you've stuck stuff on the back, you'll need to consider that as you're stitching, the stitching will show on the back. So you're probably better off just sticking it onto the front piece and not onto the back piece. Now, Nick the Booksmith has done a tutorial on Franken Pages, and the reason why they're called that is because of Frankenstein's monster, because it looks a bit patchworky. So, as I said, I'm not going to do a video on this because I don't think there's any need to. I think there's enough people out there that have done it, and I think it kind of speaks for itself as to what it is and how you go about doing it. It's basically just going through your scrap bag, ripping up different sizes, different shapes, and gluing them onto a background piece. Now, the background piece is what's called a substrate. So if you hear someone using the term substrate, that's what it means, is it's the base that you're starting with. I would try and always do these things onto a thin card rather than a paper, because the thin card will help to give it that little bit of support, if you like. It then makes it easier for attaching to the front covers of books, or to make into tags, or whatever it is that you're going to make it into. Now, on mine, let me just get my bone folder. I've made a little pocket here for this bit. What I'm actually thinking of doing with mine is I'm going to cut mine up into very big tags, I think. But we'll see how it comes out. But basically all you're doing is you're just going through your scrapbook and you're just sticking it to your substrate, all right? Making them look appealing. If you're not very good at all of this, what you can do, and I've got these out to show you as examples, my tatty broken folder. I've got 2 paper packs that are great examples and can be used as inspiration for making Franken pages, as well as doing collage pages, all right? So if you have a look here, this is basically, it's a digital version of what we're going to be creating. And all they've done is they've created loads of pictures, layered them on top of each other, and then stuck individual images then on top. So if I show you some other pages, so here for instance, look. So this one has got a pink background, and then it's got some images on top, and then it's got some focal individual pieces then stuck on top of that. But they've done it digitally. So you could look at these for inspiration. Here's another one. Loads of different images just stuck on top of each other, and then individual butterflies have just been, an oval tag there, look, have just been placed on top. So you could use these as your guide or inspiration. Now this is one of my favourites. I love this. So if anyone has got this paper and they don't want it anymore, send it my way. So again, you've got the layers of different images so that you can use these as inspiration. It might give you an idea for colours. It might give you an idea for the layout, which means the order in which you want to put things. I mean, to me, that is just beautiful because of the way in which it's been arranged and the way in which it's been added and the colours that they've used. Okay, I'm not going to bore you with any more of those, but you get the idea that there's inspiration all around us. Put those to one side. Okay, what else have I got on my pile over there? Yeah, that was what I wanted to show you next. So, that's that. Put that over there. Put that up there. Want those that are ready. Yeah, okay. So what I've got here is I've just got a collection of some of the images. When I went through my pack, I sorted them out to sort of give you some ideas of the sorts of things that I've started collecting. So I'm kind of hoping that this will give you some inspiration as well. All right. So here I've just cut out a simple, out of a magazine cutting, the times table. This is an advert for some bourbon. These were teacups off a postcard, which I've actually fussy cut out a bit. Now this, I keep looking at this piece. This, from a visual point of view, really does appeal to me because I love the colours within it and I love the textures that it shows. Now, from a designer's point of view, I might look at images differently to you. I look at my images from an inspiration point of view. So from an embroidery point of view for me, I would look at that and think that selection of colours in an embroidery would look absolutely beautiful. From a paper point of view, I can look at these images and see them from a paper textural point of view. All right. So look at your images at what appeals to you. What you look at and you go, oh, that is lovely. All right. I'd got a book that has got, it's a children's encyclopedia, which has got all these pictorial images of flowers on. So I've got those out ready. Let me just do that because otherwise those little ones are going to get squashed and lost. Then, when I'm at the doctor's, I nick their magazines. I didn't say that loud, did I? They have some really great magazines in my local doctor's, and a couple of times I've kind of snuck the magazine into my handbag. And these are some of the images that I've cut out and kept. And I'm going to show you something in a bit with these. But even this, look, I just love the display item on this. So one of the prompts could be your ideal home. I just think she's really cute. She could be cut out. One day I'm going to own my own home. Only in my dreams maybe, but I started collecting images that are to do with how I would like my home to look. Now, I don't like the colour of that room, but I like the idea of the vintage style of that room. So that kind of appeals to me if I ever got a cottage. Yeah, right. But that's the sort of imagery that I look at and I think, oh, I'd like my home to look like that. Now, I definitely would like my hallway to look like this. But you can see my thinking as to why I've picked out these images. This one, I love the fact of looking out over onto the countryside. I'm not a yellow person. The curtains don't appeal to me. The tie backs are too high. But I like the fact that looking through the window with my little old-fashioned jug and my little old-fashioned washing bowl and my little old-fashioned glass bottles, looking through to the countryside, that appeals to me. That's the corner of my hallway, you know, a bit dark and dingy, but cutting out this deer, that would a stag. Of course, that's going to be the grounds of my house. So, you know, this will be my house. When I'm looking out through the window, that'll be the grounds. And I'll see Darcy swimming across that lake to come pop over for a cup of tea. This one just cracked me up because I just think he's looking like, what am I doing? I don't know where I'm supposed to be. Yeah, so that one cracked me up. I just love the colours in that. Definitely love the colours in that. Be positive. Good affirmation. Now this one cracked me up as well. This little field mouse laughing. How brilliant's that? And again, the reason why I like these is they're a nice size to actually go into my journal. I love gardens where you've got the archways or the gateways where you're looking through. So a little bit like the secret garden kind of thing. Liked that idea. And then, of course, so I could have that on one page and this on another. These I could cut out as individuals, as strips, or as strips this way. Stencil books, go through old stencil books that you don't want anymore, because these little corner pieces could be cut out, central motifs could be cut out, teddy bears and bunny rabbits, more patterns. And then I've got these from a super duper book, and again, it's a big book that's taken up a lot of space on my bookshelf, but there are only certain images within it that I really like. So these just appeal to me from a visual point of view. Now this one, I just thought it would be great as a background piece, because it looks like a piece of artwork where I've put acrylic paints and just allowed them to pour down. So that's why I liked that one, because it doesn't look like it's supposed to be what it is. Same with that one. This I thought would be good as a fairy background kind of page. This one's nice because there's 3 separate strips I could put in. This one I liked because of the varying shades of blues. Okay, so you can kind of get an idea of the kind of images that appeal to me. Yeah. Now, as well as all the book pages and images and all of that you get to use, cut out, save, all the rest of it. The other thing that you can start saving is stamps. So any parcels that you get, go and get yourself some, save your stamps. The other thing that I've got is I've got vintage photographs, postcards. So these would be really lovely to have on in the glue book as well. So if you've got any of these, but they might even be ones, say like here, these could be pictures of your grandparents and your great-grandparents that you might want to keep. You don't want to put them in a photo album. So to actually make a decorative page for them to then sit on to highlight them, I think is a nice way of keeping them. So look all around you. Images are all around you. And if you're really honest, if you have a look through all your books and all your magazines, most of us look at the images. We tend not to read the articles quite so much. So basically what we're doing is we're making our own magazine of the images that we like. So if you think of it that way, so instead of it being 10 magazines that you own, you're making your own very personal magazine. All right? Okay, slurp of tea again. Now, whilst I've said about going through and cutting all these things out and saving all these things up, we've also then obviously got Mr. Tim. Bless him. Hope he's feeling better. And he keeps providing us with all these bits and pieces. And then, of course, there's, if you go onto AliExpress or Wish, there's all of those bits and pieces. And then, of course, you've got all the paper dolls that you've got. And in fact, that's what I've used here, is I use Mr. Tim's paper dolls. So once you've decorated the background, you can then decorate it up with the extra bits and pieces, which is the like of the paper dolls, some pieces of ephemera, whether they're Mr. Tim's, AliExpress's, originals, versions of stuff, postage stamps, buttons, washi tape. All of those things are what you can finish off the decorating of your page with. Now, I know that at the moment I am giving you a whole ton of information to the point where it can become overwhelming, which is why I wanted to do this as a challenge on the group. Because what I want to do is I want to set you almost like a little shopping list, I suppose, of things for you to look out for to collate together, and then to make a page of. All right. What I want to do next is I just want to quickly go through the glue, because I know that will be a big thing for a lot of people. When you look on YouTube and you look at all the different types of glues, there's loads. And most people who do the glue books, scrapbooking or whatever, they tend to use the glue sticks. Now, I've got quite a few glue sticks. Mine have all dried out because I haven't used them, because they've just been sat there doing nothing. You might need to try different types of glue sticks, because you might find one works better than the other. Now, the reason why they tend to use the glue sticks rather than the likes of your PVA glue, your collal glue, is because you cut out magazine images, the paper has a different thickness and consistency to it. And so some of these glues, the wet glues, if you like, as opposed to this one being a dry glue, will make the paper ruckle. And so that's where the glue stick comes into play, because it's a dry glue. It prevents the paper from, doing all of that. All right, so you might want to get yourself a decent glue stick, and I would get yourself a decent one rather than a cheap one, because you want to make sure that your images are glued to the paper well. All right. Now, on saying that, there is no reason why you can't use your liquid glues if you've got a different type of paper that you're using. So for the likes of Mr. Tim's paper dolls, I will probably use my liquid glues to adhere those onto the background. But the likes of the magazine cutouts, I'm going to use a glue stick. All right. You can then go over the top. So once you've completed your image, once you've completed your page, you're happy with it, before you add any buttons, lace or anything else, but once it's decorated with the paper stuff, there is no reason then why you can't go over that with your PVA glue or specialist varnishes to give it a finish and to help to protect it. All right. But I would invest in a decent glue stick. That's the word. The other thing that I like using as well is the multimedia matte, because that's although it's a wet glue, it's not a runny wet glue. So that would probably not ruckle the paper up quite so much either. But you might just have to have a bit of a play, see which glues you prefer using. Now, I'm going to have to use my multi-matte medium for... In fact, am I going to do a demonstration? I might just leave it at that, actually, for this. And I might do the demonstration on YouTube. I'll show you what I'm going to demonstrate so that you get the sneaky peek. All right. And I'm sorry, I'm not reading the comments at the moment. I'll go through and have a look in a bit and see if there's any questions. What I'm going to do is I'm not going to just start at the front of my book and work the way through. I'm going to do some at the front, some in the middle, some at the back, and alternate so that it ends up being slightly more balanced, and then I can start to rip out pages if it starts to look as though it's getting a bit too bulky. So the first page that I'm going to start with is right at the very back, and I'm going to do a double page spread. All right, and I chose these and I'm putting them at the back because I'm not a very keen bright red. I like maroons, I like those deep plummy type of reds, but I'm not into a very bright red. Bright red. So that's why I'm putting this one at the back. So one of the prompts one week might be red as the colour, garden as the subject matter, number of items to use 5. It might be that kind of prompt that I'm going to give you. All right, but as I was going through all my bits and pieces, I found these 2 images and I thought, right, I'm going to put one on one side, one on to there, and then I can start to decorate. And because they're big enough, I'm not going to chop them down. I'm just going to put them on the whole page as they are, and then I'm going to add images on top of that. So I then found this that I'd stamped out. I was like, yeah, okay, colour-wise that goes in. Then I found this bit of scrappy paper, which you can see, look, I punched out a butterfly, and that will sit underneath there. I've already been playing so that I can get an idea. I don't think you've got to cut everything out either, rip it, because that adds that little bit of texture too. So what I'll do is I'll rip that off. I won't put the whole thing on, but I just had a go at making a layout, making it look pretty. I then found this red vellum, and I'm going to rip this, and I'm going to put that under there. So I thought that could go there. Then I found this bit of printed ephemera that I'd got. So I thought, well, that could go up there. And it's all about layering, not just sticking them on randomly, but layering one on top of the other. Then I'd got these stamped images. So I thought, yeah, okay, that could go up there. That could go down there. All right. So I've now got myself a collaged page. All right. Now I'm going to do a couple of things different. Okay. Because I can start to arrange these in different ways to make it look pretty, there are times when you put things on a page and you go, yes, that goes. I could then do that. And then I could then do that. And it doesn't matter if they overhang the edges of the pages as well. Now you might be looking at this and thinking, oh no, Carol, don't put that there. That doesn't work. And that is because what appeals to you is different to what appeals to me. So there were a couple of videos that I watched, and the lady stuck something down in a different place to what I would have stuck it down. I was thinking, no, don't stick it there. No, please don't. Oh, too late, she stuck it there. It looked nice when it was done, but I thought my way was better. But, you know, don't be afraid to just have a play, lay your stuff up, see what it looks like. You see, I could even leave that butterfly on, look. And have a bit of the red showing through there. Could lay that on top. Put that on top. Put that down there. Could put it up there. Could have it coming out from underneath. Sit it on top. So do you see what I mean by when you look at this, you might go, oh, no, don't put that there, Carol. Put that. No, put it underneath. Put it under. Yeah, okay. Have a play with what you think looks until you are happy with how it looks. If you get to such a point where it looks like that and you can't find anything else in your scrap bag or your picture books, we can leave it at that, because there's no reason why we can't come back to it at a later date. Because one of the other things I thought about adding to it, let me just rearrange it how I originally thought. Just hum to yourself a little minute again. So I thought about that there. Add that there. That there. So that page now is not as bright a red because I've covered it over with all these other tones and different colours to help it all to blend together. And this has become what we call the focal point. Then I thought what I could then do is rip a stamp. I want to keep the postmark on it. I think that just adds a bit of fun to it because it dates it. But it's also then good to look back at these things and think, oh, blimey, do you remember when we used to buy stamps? And they were how much? And that was what date? But I thought I could add the stamp on there as well, and it just starts to tie it all together. Does that make sense for everyone? What size is my book? Hang on. Oh, you would ask me that, wouldn't you? I don't know where my ruler is now. I'll give you in centimetres. But does that make sense? So you're just having a play. And as I say, if you want to just stick just a couple of things on to get you started, and even just put temporary glue on, so you could put glue dots on the back so that it holds it all together, or put it in a little pouch and say, I want those on that page, but I'm not quite sure of everything yet, so I'll put it all in a little bag and just paper clip the bag to this, and I might come back to it because I might come across something else that I think, oh, I know what that needs to go on. All right, so don't feel that you've got to go, right, that's my page, I've got to get it done, because you haven't. Because this is for you. This is just a bit of fun, a bit of relaxation for you. There's no pressure. It's just to get your creative juices flowing. Okay, so it's 25 and a half centimetres long, Maureen. And just over 18 centimetres wide. It's quite a big one. It's quite big. It's bigger than A5. Right, so just do a bit here, a bit there, have a bit of fun, just play. This is just for you to have a look at. It's not going to go in the National Gallery, the National Art Gallery, or anything like that. It's just for you, for a bit of fun, a bit of playing, a bit of creativeness. Get rid of a bit of bulk off your bookshelves. And just have a bit of fun, really. So, sorry, Carol. Sorry, Lynn. I don't know where my oh, I do. I found it. My inches ruler is what I was trying to word. Hang on. So, in inches, width-wise, it is 7 1/4-ish inches. And lengthwise, it's 10. Okay. My rule of thumb for working out roughly how big something is I know that with the ruler, 12 inches is 30 centimetres. So if I'm watching a video and they say it's 15 centimetres long, I know that my ruler's 12. 15 is half of 30, so half of 12 is 6. So that's how I kind of try and remember some basic sizes. So if they say to me, it's 60 centimetres long, I know that my ruler's 30, and that's 12 inches. So I have to double that up to make it to 60. So if I double the 12 up, that's 24. So if it's 60 centimetres, it's 24 inches. That's how I work it out mathematically anyway. So, woo! Have a slip of me brew. So, I hope that makes sense. The first part of the challenge for you doing your glue book is decide where you're going to start doing your thing. Doing that thing. Decide if you're going to do a book that you've made, a book that you've already got, all that stuff that we talked about in the beginning. Decide what you're going to do. Just decorate cards, you know, decorate playing cards, decorate index cards, and then maybe stick them into a book if you like doing it. That's your first challenge. Decide what you're going to do. Second challenge is go and gather yourself and put them in one single pouch, the images, the background pages, and all of that stuff that you think that you might want to put in your glue book, right? Third challenge is to go and get your glue sorted out, so that if you haven't got yourself a pretty sticky tight glue, go and get yourself one, and then prepare yourself for next Sunday's challenge, which is where I will set you up some prompts to get you started. Okay, so I'm done. I think I'm done. Does any there were a couple of questions that were asked. One was gluing stuff to stitch it, because I asked about the questions and answers thing, didn't I? If you're going to, and this doesn't necessarily just apply to this, but if you were going to stick an image to your substrate and you wanted to stitch it, just put a little bit of glue dabbed round about the centre of the design, and then stick it to your page so it's just held in place. And then you can stitch around it so that your sewing machine needle is not going anywhere near the glue. Yeah, so that was that bit. There was something else. Yeah, someone asked me about the Stampin' Up tags and was I going to be putting them in the pop-up shop, and the very resounding answer to that is no, for two reasons. One, I'm not allowed to, unless I made those tags up, made them look pretty, utilised them in something, blah, blah, blah. But I don't have the time, excuse me, I don't have the time to sit and make those things. Also, it kind of makes Stampin' Up a little bit pointless. The whole point is for you to go and purchase those items, for you to then to be able to make your own. So I'm afraid, no, I won't be selling the tags in the pop-up shop. You need to go to Stampin' Up and go and purchase your own die cut set and produce your own. So I hope that answers that one. Has anyone got any other questions? What do you mean you don't want it to end, Maureen? Surely you must be fed up with the sound of my voice by now. Oh, happy Mother's Day to everyone too, Lynn, yeah. For those who have mummies in heaven, happy Mother's Day to you guys up in heaven. And all those other types of mummies too. What do you mean no? Oh dear. Right, I'll just hang about for a minute, slurping on my brew. I'll put that there so it's pretty. Oh, I know what I can show you. I'm going to give you a sneaky peek on something. As many of you know, I'm doing the mini album online workshop. And I'm doing it because a lot of you were saying to me, Carol, we want you to do a workshop using graphic 45 papers. So that's what I'm doing. So I originally made mine using the Tim Holtz paper, which I've mentioned. Oh, sorry, slurping my tea again. And I'm going to demonstrate using the graphic 45 papers in the videos. Now, you don't have to use graphic 45 papers. You don't have to use Tim Holtz papers. If you've got a cheapy paper pad, you know, a 12 by 12 paper pad that you've purchased from the works that was £3, you can use that if you want. You can use your magazine, not magazine, you know, the papers that you get out of magazines. You can use any of those, but you do need to consider the thickness of the papers that you're using. But I will be doing a video on the group, for their material list, but I'm just going to give you a sneaky peek of what papers I'm going to be using. I won't be a moment, because I've left them on the table over here. There is a new paper pack out by Graphic 45, and my papers arrived yesterday. So these are the ones that I'm going to be using, and it's called Bloom, right? So the paper collection is called Bloom. So I'm going to be showing you how to do the mini album using these papers. You can use whichever papers you want. A few of you have mentioned the, oh God, what they're called? The sisters. What's the ones with the sisters called that wrote the stories? Oh, blooming heck. Little Women. Oh, I tell you, it's my age. I've already got projects lined up for Little Women, so I'm afraid I won't be using those. There was the music papers as well. There's no reason why you can't use those. You don't have to use the same papers as I'm using, because I'm going to talk you through how you utilise the paper, what you need to look at. Okay, so I'll just give you a quick preview. Have it the right way around, that might help. I love that paper. That really appeals to me. Love the colour combination. Love the flowers that they've used. Alright, so these are the papers that I'm going to be using in mine. Okay, don't ask me any questions about it for those that have already signed up. That will all be explained on the group for those that have purchased the online workshop. I just wanted to give you a sneaky peek of the papers that I'm going to be using. Alright. Okay, I'm definitely done now. My throat's red raw. Thank you all very much for popping along and joining me. How long have I been prattling on for? An hour! Who'd thought I could talk so much, eh? Thank you very much for joining me. I hope you enjoy the rest of your day, and I hope that you'll join me on the journey of creating your own glue book. And I'll see you all on the other side. Ta-ra for now. Bye.